is Dan Newburg. Obviously this appointment came quickly, and the decision came quickly. I was out of town on business last week. I did not arrive back until very early in the morning Saturday. So the reason the thought became Dan, I've been working with Dan for a number of weeks, and we've been talking about ways to bring our community back together. Completely unrelated to any appointments. This was well before the recall was finalized. It was just something that he and I discussed and saw a need. And I felt that a good way for that to occur was to use the faith community within our town. We have a very strong faith community in our town. My observation is that there is probably one of the few towns in the country whose schools are full on Sunday morning, only with various churches. So I felt in that would be a good opportunity. So he had convened a group of ministers here in town, and they had met a couple times. That group has actually grown, I'm pleased to say. And Dan and I had a meeting scheduled Monday, March 8th, to discuss the progress of this committee. And at that time, Councilmember Thompson's resignation was uncertain. He had indicated he was going to resign, and then he had indicated that he was rethinking. And I had, as have many in the community, sent encouragement to Councilmember Thompson not to resign, to stay on and move forward. But I had not heard back from him. So with that uncertainty, I need to think about options in the event that he would resign. The morning of March the 8th, I was leaving for a business trip that had been planned for months. And when I met with Dan, we talked about our efforts on the committee. I asked him what he thought about Pat serving on council, and he was certainly not prepared for that question. And he asked me if he could have time to think, and I said that's absolutely appropriate. And he took time to talk to those close to him and talk to members of his church, members of his church hierarchy, fellow ministers here in the community, and did some real soul searching. And on Wednesday, March the 10th, I had an email that indicated that he was willing to accept and serve in any capacity. I asked. I called him and spoke, and both of us had hoped at that time that Councilmember Thompson would reconsider. However, I received notice of Dan Thompson's resignation Friday while I was still out of town, and on the way to the airport. And while at the airport, I began the announcement process immediately of my plans. I talked to some staff, asked them to get messages out. I spoke to both news outlets here in the community. Obviously, I spoke with Christy, a message received, and spoke with Todd, and spoke with Dan, and talked about the situation. So that's how I came to that point. Dan and his family have been residents of Gardner for 15 years. He's the pastor of our Nazarene church here in town, and that position requires a high degree of leadership. It is an organization, again, not unlike city government, where he must work with a board of members in order to accomplish the business needs of the church. He obviously has requirements of responding to members' wishes and members' needs, managing multiple priorities, much like a person would on the city council. Again, there are no political ties, no previous political ties here in the community, and as with Christy, I did not ask any opinion on the intermodal or on the recall, and I intend not to. And with that, I would recommend to the council that Dan Newburg be appointed to serve the remaining term of John Shepard, ending in 2011. Questions or comments?
I only met Dan on a few occasions, but what I was impressed with was his willingness to serve on a committee to bring the community together. And I feel that's, I think that's impressive. Somebody that cared about the community, and I think that's very important. And I have faith in the recommendation.
I introduced myself to Dan the first time tonight, but I think I've seen you for years, Dan. I was impressed with the amount of Dan's accomplishments. I really appreciate you to step up and help bring this community together. I think it's a fine appointment, and you make not take for granted Dan and Christy as well. Both stepped up on behalf of the city at this time and willingness to serve, and we do take for granted, and it's greatly appreciated. So glad you're doing this.
Comments? Okay, great. Dan, if you could come forward, please, and take the oath of office.
I, Daniel Newburg, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the
United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties as a City of Gardner Council member.
As a City of Gardner Council member.
So help me God.
So help me God.